testify. Talk about I'm coming out of this. Talk about how you're coming out the hole. Talk about how you're coming out of debt. Talk about how you're coming out of poverty. Talk about how you're going to be debt free. Talk about how it's going to work out, not just for you, but for your family. Not just for your family, but for your church family. Talk about how it's going to work out for other ministers. Talk about how it's going to work out for other deacons. Talk about how it's going to work out for the leader. Talk about how better is all up on this church. Talk about it. Talk about it. Go to work and talk about it. Lay down at night and talk about it. Rise up and talk about it. Talk about God's goodness. Whoa! High five 3, 4, tell them you better talk about it. Talk about it in the midst of things trying to depress you. Talk about it in the midst of your enemy screaming at you. Talk about it in the midst of whatever you might be going through. Be seated. One of the biggest problems is that we ain't talking enough. We ain't bragging on him enough. Brag on him until he show up. Brag on him until he does it. Brag on it. God, I know I'm preaching. You got to brag on God until that thing come to pass. Brag on him until you got the keys to your business. Until you're opening up. Keep bragging on him. Until you're in the place that he showed you. That he showed you when you didn't have a dime. That he showed you when you didn't have all the resources. See, listen, you know what's happening in our midst right now? The reason certain folk are feeling encouraged, the reason they're feeling strengthened is because I'm up here preaching. I'm up here bragging about God. And whenever you brag about God, it will affect you in a good way. Listen, you cannot stay down if you're bragging about God. Right? Notice Psalm 145 in verse 4. Look at Psalm 145, verse 4. It's what we got to do. We got to do more of it. Now watch this. This is what's supposed to happen amongst the saints. Psalm 145 and 4. One generation shall praise your works to another and shall declare your mighty acts. Before I go further, see, that's what's supposed to happen with us. If you got children, you are supposed to be sharing with them the wonderful works of God. If you have children, you are not supposed to be poor-mouthing to your children. Watch this, all around them. Making it difficult for them to truly understand how great he is. Why? Mama never talks about how great God is. Daddy never brags on God. Daddy brags on his job. Daddy brags on his bank account. I never hear him say it is because of God. I brag on God to my children, to my grandchildren. Because I understand that one generation is supposed to declare his wondrous acts to another generation. Oh, tell your neighbor, it matters how you talk to another generation. Tell somebody, it matters what you say to another generation. Listen to me, it does matter when you tell somebody that they can never have certain things. Come on, that matters. Because you're not putting the next generation in touch with how good God is. One generation shall praise your works to another and shall declare your mighty acts. I will meditate on your glorious splendor of your majesty and on your wondrous works. Two things I want you to get, and I'm done. When we talk, first of all, we need to talk about his wondrous works with others. We need to do so because when we get together and we talk about God's wondrous works, we do two things for each other. We encourage and we uplift one another. When we decide to do lunch, but not just do lunch and talk about woe is us and how pitiful everything is and how bad it look and how bad it smells. No, let's do lunch. And in the midst of lunch, let's talk about how good God is. Let's talk about how he moving. Let's talk about how he blessing. Let's talk about, well, give me 5 minutes. I'm going to tell you how he helping me. And I'm going to give you 5 minutes. You tell me how he helping you. Come on, somebody. See, because what's going to happen is whatever spirit that is there that's not of God, it will be pushed out. Yes, it will. It'll be pushed out. Because in the midst of talking about his wondrous works, again, we're going to uplift and we're going to encourage one another. And finally, talk to yourself. Talk to yourself. Talk to yourself about his wondrous work so that you will in turn encourage and uplift what? Yourself. Could tell your neighbor, sometimes when you need to be encouraged, your prayer partner, your praise partner can't get off or can't get loose. But it doesn't mean you have to stay bound because you can't talk to them. Learn to talk to yourself. Learn to remind yourself of how good God has been to you. And listen, in the midst of you doing so, you're going to begin to feel, somebody shout, feel encouraged. Somebody shout, you're going to begin to feel encouraged. Bills behind, but I'm encouraged. Folks still talking a lot of nonsense, but I'm yet encouraged. And I'm uplifted. I feel better. I'm done. Come on, give him a praise.